We have 36 here, so let's move on with our chapter 6. Okay, for this particular chapter, this one is quite short for a chapter, and probably we are going to complete this particular chapter by today. We'll see how on Thursday for your class. If let's say we manage to complete all of this particular chapter within today, then probably on your Thursday, tengok dulu macam mana lah. Okay, so for your apa tu midterm break, it will be next week if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and then your test will be, you're going to sit for your test 1 for FST202 on the following week, meaning that next week your midterm break, then the following week will be your test 1. Okay, and that one will be under U Future. Alright, and I will post the notice, the announcement relating to your test 1 in your WhatsApp group. And relating to the attempt to do your test 1, basically other lecturers, they are going to do for one attempt, single attempt. But then for my class, I will open for 2 attempts. However, with a condition, which is you are supposed to answer your question on your first attempt. But if let's say you have any problem related to the internet connection breakdown, or maybe you have some electricity problem or whatever, okay, please provide me proof and you are allowed to do for your second attempt. Okay, but then if let's say you don't provide me any proof, but you do for your second attempt and submit for your second attempt without any proof, without any proper reason, then marks will be deducted for your second attempt, which is 10%. 10% of your marks will be deducted if you are when you answer your test 1 without any concrete reason. Okay, so whenever if let's say you are facing any problem when you're answering for your test 1, please provide me proof, then only you proceed with your second attempt. Alright, I hope I make myself clear. Jangan simply buat untuk second attempt just because you rasa tadi jawapan tadi macam tak betul, so you nak betulkan in your second attempt. That one tak boleh So please read for your test 1. The chapter that is being covered, I've already informed you last week. Okay, so now let's proceed with your texture, for quality control texture. Okay, before that, do you have any question relating to your test or any announcement that I've mentioned just now?
No.
No, madam.
Okay, setakat ni suara I clear tak?
Clear, putus-putus
Okay.
sikit lah.
Apa dia?
Dia macam putus-putus sikit. Tapi I think it's my connection.
Hopefully it is okay because I try to eliminate the background sound. So I pakai earphone now. Okay, so now for texture, this will be your chapter 6, texture and its measurement in food. Whenever you go to food industry later, a part of doing sensory analysis is whereby you require to have human in order for you to perform the analysis. Okay, but then for that particular sensory analysis, that one is considered as subjective analysis. Subjective analysis meaning that the perception, the acceptability of the food product, of your company's product, that one relatively depending on the human, meaning that on the subject itself, whether they perceive at that particular food product is considered as acceptable or not acceptable based on their experience, based on their the appearance of that particular product or their mood. So those sensory analysis, it is known as subjective analysis. Okay, but then if you go to food industry, although you need to have sensory analysis because you need to consider that food products, it need to be consumed by human. So of course you need to have a human touch. But apart from that, you need to have an objective measurement. Objective measurement is whereby you are conducting the analysis by using either instrument or equipment. So whenever we want to conduct the analysis for the texture of food products, where your company is producing that particular product, then you will find that there will be both analysis that is going to be conducted for the product. One will be the subjective analysis and the other one is objective analysis. So subjective will be by the sensory, objective will be by using texture analysis. Okay, this one I have mentioned to you before, whereby when the product has been produced, okay, dalam production line ni, so basically before they are being apa tu consider as they are being released to the market, so biasanya QA/QC dengan production they all akan taste the product, betul tak? This one I have mentioned to you before. Okay, but then how about the product when it is reaching to its expiry date? Okay, yang itu kena buat juga tak sensory analysis dengan texture when the product is reaching to their expiry date?
Kena.
Okay, kenapa kena buat sensory dengan texture analysis?
Because sekejap.
Okay, yang lain nak jawab tak? Why? Tak apa, saya tak nampak muka you pun, so I tak tahu who answer the question. Betul salah ke tak apa, you kena train because nanti probably you nak continue for your degree afterwards. It's up to you. But if let's say afterwards you are going to join with industry, nanti manager you tanya you diam. Tak boleh you need to give feedback. You need to actively think and then give feedback. So that you know what you're talking about, you know what you have learned, and then your manager pun tahu what you have done. Okay, so kena practice untuk bagi feedback. So I'm asking you, kalau food product that is nearing to its expiry date, does it necessary for you to conduct the texture and sensory analysis?
Yes.
I think
Sebab
yes.
Okay, why?
to ensure that kalau the product is nearing the expiry date, dia punya food product is not going to like macam teruk sangat. Dia punya dia punya product nearing expiry date tak teruk. Dia punya texture pun.
Teruk.
As in like dia punya macam reaction of the product. Itulah
Still
tu
considered as
saya punya
acceptable.
jawapan.
Okay, yang lain?
Okay.
Why kena buat sensory dengan texture analysis? When the product is nearing to expiry date. Kenapa kena buat? Kena buat lah madam ni tanya-tanya kita pula pagi-pagi ni. Dah sejuk-sejuk ni. Okay, basically you need to do sensory and texture analysis before the product is being released to the market and when the product is already reaching to its expiry date. Because why? Because one, kita nak make sure that the product is remain in terms of the integrity. Okay, maksudnya contoh if let's say you are producing ice cream contoh so ice cream kita tak nak ada separation, gula dekat bawah, skim milk dekat atas. So when it's reaching towards the expiry date, you need to check in terms of the crystallization, ada problem tak? And then in terms of the texture, in terms of the taste, ada beza expiry date, ada perubahan rasa tak? Okay, in terms of the acceptability, the overall acceptability. One is the integrity of the food product. The second one will be the acceptability of the food product. Okay, supposing why we have the range of the date when the product starts to be produced sampai it is reaching to expiry date, because kita assume when the product is reaching to its expiry date, the taste, the texture, the appearance, the overall acceptability of that particular product is still considered as acceptable. Okay, jadi kita kena make sure in our side from the industrial perspective, we must ensure that kita punya produk tu is still acceptable. Tak ada significant different ataupun major difference for the product when it almost reaching to its expiry date. Okay, so memang penting untuk conduct sensory as well as texture analysis when it is approaching to expiry date. So kalau saya bagi tahu dekat kamu, biasanya untuk dalam production line, kita akan buat sensory analysis dengan texture analysis for the product before it is being released to the market. Okay, and this is my experience. For us, okay, yang itu yang taste the product tu normally untuk production people, dengan biasanya yang ada dekat kilang tu kita punya QA assistant ataupun supervisor lah. Okay, tapi kalau if let's say you are your apa tu job title you executive ataupun manager, okay, biasanya orang yang lebih atas, biasanya you akan buat sensory untuk produk. Okay, sensory, I'm talking about sensory, not texture. You are going to do sensory of the product that is approaching to the expiry date. Okay, so maksudnya orang yang dekat kilang tu they manage to consume produk yang fresh, tapi you makan produk yang almost expired. Why? Sebab apa-apa pun kalau jadi apa-apa you are being paid to think, you are being paid to do the job. So apa-apa yang kena you dululah. Alright, and furthermore, because macam executive and manager, they are perceived to be more knowledgeable. Okay, lebih ada banyak ilmu compared to your supervisor or your assistant. So you can deduce ataupun you can come out with a conclusion whether the product is considered as acceptable ataupun tak acceptable. Kalau katakanlah produk tu, sorry I cakap panjang sikit. Okay, katakanlah if let's say the product tu is reaching to the expiry date and you buat sensory analysis, you buat texture, the specification is out of the range. When you perform sensory analysis, it's not acceptable. So that means your product is having a risk of customer complaint ataupun the product yang ada dekat customer tu will have a problem. Okay, so that's why it is important for us to conduct both at both times. Okay, alright, so kita move on with the texture. Tu saja nak share my experience because I was surprised because tak sangka lah pula kan executive bila produk tu expired, hari tu baru we all kena buat sensory analysis for all products yang almost expired. And there's one time juga ada produk tu, one of this product is having a problem. So my manager, she assigned me, Mariana, you need to taste the product that is taken back from the market. Maksudnya mana produk yang tak habis tu, tak habis daripada market tu, kita akan bawa balik ke kilang. And then produk yang dibawa balik tu, yang itu yang I kena makan. I kena taste the product because to make sure that there is no more problem for that particular product. Okay, so I kena buat lah. Tapi lepas tu dah after a few days then I suruh supervisor I yang buat je. Okay, so the first slide ni, you ada yang YouTube ni, it is not necessary for you to watch that particular YouTube. Maybe this one Eddie prepared for you just to menghiburkan hati you. You can watch it on your own but not in my class. Okay, so for chapter learning outcome, sekejap, 41 ada two person missing. Okay, for this particular chapter learning outcome, at the end of this particular chapter, students should be able to state the definition and importance of texture in food quality control. Okay, so untuk for this particular chapter, we are going to talk about texture analysis and its measurement in food products, meaning that this particular chapter is meant for objective measurement. Objective measurement ni maksudnya kita ada a specific value, kita ada nilai, okay, we have numbers. Kalau macam subjektif tu memang ada numbers juga, but it depends on the perception of the human. Okay, maksudnya ada bias. Tapi kalau when we talk about instrument, equipment, tak ada bias because instrument, equipment dia tak ada emotion. Okay, and then the second one, the student should be able to describe the mechanical, geometrical and other characteristics of texture in food. Okay, and then you should be able to explain the measurement of texture in food. Okay, so the first one, this will be the chapter content, what we are going to cover, the definition and importance of texture in food quality control. Alright, and then mechanical, geometrical and other characteristics of texture in food. followed by measurement of texture in food. Okay, when we talk about texture measurement by using instrument, biasanya kita akan pakai texture analyzer. Okay, this particular texture analyzer, you have it in your campus. Tak ada dekat rumah you lah. Okay, you have in your campus, but then online dalam YouTube pun ada a lot of videos that are showing how the the instrument works and how the analysis is being conducted. Okay, so definition and importance of texture. Alright, you can see that this one is the picture of biscuits. So untuk food product, dia tak terhad kepada macam biscuits, roti ke. It can goes even for the drinks, for the yogurt, for the ice cream, even for the cone of the ice cream. Sebab semua tu ada texture. Okay, so relating to the introduction, texture is one of the most important quality attributes whereby it is being used by the manufacturer to assess food quality, because when we want to report for the product, for that particular product itself, kita kena report something yang ada value. Okay, so when we talk about values, it can go for objective measurement, but one of them is by using texture analyzer. Okay, so this is important by performing texture analysis is important because the growing number of production from semi-solid food, which we have for sauces and dressings. Then we have yogurt spreads as well as ice cream. Okay, for texture, what is the definition of texture? Texture is defined as the properties of a food that are sensed by finger, tongue, palate, or teeth. Okay, this one basically is for the human. Okay, so and another one for the texture of the food product, it can be soft, it can be hard, it can mushy, it can be crunchy, smooth, or lumpy. So this one depends on the type of food commodities. Okay, texture is important for the enjoyment and acceptability of the food. Alright, and this one is what is being highlighted in your lecture note slides, whereby chewing gum is being banned in Singapore starting from 2004. Because why? Because when people after they have finished chewing the chewing gum, then they will stick that particular chewing gum in underneath the chair ke, the table ke, or if let's say they throw it into the dustbin pun, sometimes it's stuck on the wall of the dustbin, so it cannot be removed properly. So to avoid this kind of problem, that's why in Singapore they introduced this kind of ban for the chewing gum. Okay, so we have the differences, the reasons of texture differences. So when we talk about texture differences, it depends on whether it is animal based or plant based. So when we talk about animal based, of course it is related to the breed. Okay, for example, you have this particular chicken, sama ada ayam kampung ke ataupun that particular chicken that is being bred in a cage. Okay, then in terms of the age, whether it is a young animals or adult animals. Okay, handling techniques, especially when it goes for the slaughtering, and then post slaughtering method, processing method of the product. Okay, does it involve with the shearing process? Does it involve with low temperature or high temperature treatment? Right, and then parts of the meat for that particular chicken or cow or beef, which part of the animal uh, that particular meat is being taken off. Alright, and then in terms of the gender, whether it's female or male, and then in terms of the activeness of that particular chicken ataupun that particular animal. Okay, whether they are active or they are very passive. Okay, and then we have this particular plant. For plants, it depends on the varieties or cultivars, and then in terms of the maturity, for example, in terms of the ripeness, whether it is at young stage ataupun ripened stage, because these two maturity stages, they have a difference in terms of the hardness. Okay, and then harvesting and handling techniques. Okay, when we are harvesting that particular plant, and then after that post harvesting, how the plants is being treated, that one will have a different in terms of the texture, followed by processing method as well as parts of the plant. Okay, so this is the parts of the cow. And this one, since you have taken your food chemistry, so you should apa tu, you should have seen this type of apa tu, parts of the meat. Okay, when we have the sirloin, the tenderloin, then we have the chuck, flank, rib, and etc. Okay, so different parts of the cow, for example, are being used for different type of products. Okay, for example, we have steak, then we have the production of sausage, production of meat products. Okay, the beef patty, and etc. Okay, importance of texture. Alright, the importance of texture in the overall acceptability of foods are depending on the type of food. Okay, whether the product is solid product ataupun liquid products. Alright, and then texture is often cited by consumers as the reason for not liking certain food product. So that's why it is important for us to conduct both analysis. Okay, so food, it can be divided into three groups. Sekejap. Food can be divided into three groups that attributes upon texture preferences. Okay, so the texture measurement of the food products. So the first one will be critical, second one is important, the third one will be minor. Okay, critical, this one basically when the texture is a dominant quality characteristics. For example, when we talk about potato chips, what will be the thing that is in your mind when we talk about potato chips?
Crispy.
Crunchy.
Yes, that is the attributes of the special attributes of that particular potato chips, meaning that it needs to be crunchy, it needs to be crispy. So meaning that the texture is very dominant. But then contoh lah, if let's say you beli keripik pisang dekat tepi jalan, then bila you buka packaging tu, you gigit-gigit, macam nak patah gigi, tak nak cabut gigi. Okay, because you have in your in back of your mind, the set of your mind is when we talk about keripik pisang, it's supposed to be crunchy as well, but then probably due to the packaging method ke ataupun that particular product has been long on the shelf, so probably that particular crispiness ataupun the crunchiness has gone, dah hilang, tak ada. So when we talk about potato chips ataupun celery contohnya, so they have this particular crisp factor. So meaning that the texture is dominant. Okay, the quality characteristics for that particular crispy and crunchy is dominant. Okay, and then the second one whereby the texture is less dominant quality characteristics, but it is still important, meaning that you still need to consider in terms of the texture analysis. Okay, for example, for fruits product, for fruit, it depends on the types of fruit. For example, when you talk about apple, okay, for apple, most of the species of apple supposed to be crunchy. Okay, but then bila you beli apple, ada some of the apple ni bila you gigit, tak crunchy pun. So your acceptability towards that particular product has been reduced. Maksudnya the liking of you towards that particular apple is no longer there. Okay. But then of course it depends. When you consume avocado, for example, avocado takkan you nak ada crunchy juga. Okay, that one is very much different. When you talk about orange tak ada crisp factor. Okay, and then when we talk about cheese, okay, untuk cheese, different types of cheese also they have different types of characteristics. Okay, some of the cheese it is important to have this particular texture. For example, it's supposed to be able to to slide, or it is able to be stretchable. Alright, and then in terms of the bread when you talk about loaf bread, so your set of mind is already thinking that bread is supposed to be soft. But when you talk about some of the bread yang keras tu, bukan Italian bread, tapi
French.
French baguette.
Baguette.
Baguette. Contohnya baguette. Baguette, kalau orang Malaysia ni mungkin some of them they all tak biasa. So bila dia makan baguette tu, pasal apa roti ni keras? Memang originally that particular type of bread is hard. Right? Because it needs to be eat together with fruits ke ataupun vegetables. Yang awak baru nak masuk ni, dah setengah jam dah. Okay, and then we have some cereal or candy. Okay, contohnya macam cereal, yang diet cereal tu, of course it still have some crispiness, but then when it is being added with the dried fruit, so some dried fruits are not crispy, but it's still important in terms of this particular texture quality characteristic. Okay, and then last but not least will be the minor. Okay, minor is whereby the texture is considered as negligible. Fahmi kenapa baru masuk Fahmi? Lalu Fahmi masuk 10.00 tapi hari ni masuk lambat pula. Mana Fahmi?
10.00. Apa dia?
No, selalu you masuk, katalah I dah buka 9.45, you masuk 10.00. So hari ni you masuk 10.26. Why you are late?
Maaf madam. Lupa nak masuk.
Lupa nak masuk. Lupa ada kelas. Yang lagi seorang tu siapa? Khairul something.
Saya Faiz.
Faiz. Khairul dah mana aku dapat Khairul. Kenapa lambat?
Belajar. Belajar.
Belajar? Terlajak tidur? Hai, pukul 10 dah ni. Subuh
Saya
tak
ada
tadi?
lepas subuh tadi. Lepas tu kelas pukul 8 cancel. Saya terlajak lah.
Syok tidur sejuk-sejuk ni kan?
Hujan ni dah. Sorry madam.
Okay, alright. So when we talk about minor, whereby this one texture is negligible, for example, thin beverage, contohnya macam Coke ataupun Pepsi ke, this particular texture, takkan you nak buat texture analysis kot kan untuk this particular drink. So this particular texture for this type of fruits are considered as negligible. Tapi when we talk about yogurt ataupun thick juice, this one probably you want to check in terms of the viscosity, whereby it also can be performed by using texture analysis. Okay, texture analyzer. Alright, then we move on to the different types of texture characteristics of food. Okay, this one will be in terms of sekejap. Mana tu? This one is attributes inside of this particular texture. Okay, so for these particular attributes, we have three major attributes. Just now is the characteristics of that particular food product. Now we move on to the attributes. Attributes of the texture, kita ada another three attributes of texture. The first one, we have the mechanical attributes, then we have geometrical attributes as well as superficial attributes. Okay, when we talk about mechanical attributes, this one is related to the firmness ataupun softness and the hardness of that particular product. Okay, so dalam kamu punya lecture notes ni, it related to the mass volume area related. Okay, whether the surface area. Okay, and then in terms of the morphometric, the morphology of that particular product, as well as the rheological properties. Okay, rheological properties, this one are related back to the product itself, whether it is a thick slurry ke ataupun thin slurry ke. So this one it goes back to the characteristics of mechanical attributes. Okay, and then the second category for the attributes of texture, this one will be geometrical attributes. Okay, for geometrical attributes, this one is related to the grittiness, coarseness as well as the sandiness. And contoh lain dalam kamu punya lecture notes ni ada density, shrinkage, porosity and sphericity properties. Okay, some of the food they have different density. For example, contoh macam marshmallow. Marshmallow they have a very low density compared to water, so it needs to be float. And then of course when you measure the texture of that particular marshmallow, it goes back to its characteristics. Okay, so this one related to geometrical attributes. And then superficial attributes, this one will be the surface properties. So surface properties is whereby you are measuring something that is on the surface of the product itself. Okay, contohnya macam apa tu? Chocolate for example. So you want to check in terms of the coating of that particular chocolate. So how does it affect towards the breakability of that particular chocolate bar and etc. So that one is superficial attributes. Okay, then we move on to the measurement of texture in food. Okay, this one, for this particular chapter, we are talking about using instrument of texture analyzer. Okay, so dalam gambar yang kamu ada dekat dalam slide ni, this one actually is showing a very old version of texture analyzer. Okay, komputer ni lah sebenarnya yang paling lama sekali. Okay, but then this particular texture analyzer, this particular texture analyzer, this one is being used until now. Memang design dia pun sama macam ni, unless kalau macam you nak come out with a new type of texture analyzer macam Elon Musk tu ke, something macam tu, then it's a different story. Okay, so I bagi tahu sikit what do we have for your texture analyzer. Okay, yang ini nampak yang putih ni, okay, nampak ada tulisan stable microsystem. This one kita panggil the arm. Tepat tangan, tempat kita nak letak kita punya probe ataupun fixture. Okay, this one is the arm, whereby kalau kamu nampak yang ada warna hitam ni atas bawah, this particular arm, it can move up and move down. Okay, it moves up when it is being away, when the arm is being away from the sample. It will move down when you want to you want to project with the compression towards the food product. Okay, so it can move up and move down, and berapa jauh dia akan pergi, berapa jauh dia akan naik, berapa jauh dia akan turun. That one is really depending on you when you set this particular instrument. Okay, ada setting, some of the setting, but this particular setting, it depends on type of food product that you are going to measure. Okay, yang ini pula, this one yang hitam ni, this one is a probe. Okay, probe, we have different types of probe. For texture analysis, texture analyzer, different types of food products, they will have different set of probe because they will have different set of measurement. Okay, contohnya kalau katakanlah your company is producing potato chips for example, the probe that you have in your company is not similar with the company that is producing bread products. Okay, so they have different set of measurement, and they have different set of probe in order for you to conduct the measurement. Okay, and then yang dekat ini mid slab yang putih ni mid slab, yang bawah ni. Alright, this one, okay, yang warna silver ni, yang ini kita panggil platform. Platform is whereby you are going to place your food sample ataupun you nak tambah additional platform. Okay, additional platform ni contohnya if let's say you want to take care of this particular main platform, so basically kita akan attach additional platform. Okay, additional platform ni at least kalau additional platform yang rosak, contoh if let's say you are conducting texture analysis but then you are setting a wrong setting of compression, contoh too much of compression. So your additional platform kalau rosak, if let's say you need to replace, it will not cost a fortune. Maksudnya dia tak terlalu mahal. Tapi kalau nak repair yang main platform ni, selalunya it cost berpuluh ribu compared to that additional platform. So normally kalau you go to the industry, some of them they will have additional platform, some of them they all akan letak direct on this particular main platform. Okay, and yang dekat bahagian tepi ni, harap-harap you nampak apa yang I tunjuk ni. Okay, yang bahagian tepi ni, ini adalah force that you are attaching to this particular texture analyzer. Okay, contohnya if let's say you are going to do texture analysis for durian compared to you want to do texture analysis for potato chips for example, you are going to have a different force required in order to break these two sample. Okay, contoh yang saya cakap durian ni memang ada orang buat. Durian ni when they want to, durian bukan durian flesh tau, it's the whole durian. what they did was, one of the researcher yang I jumpa tu, what they did was they placed the durian on this particular texture texture analyzer ni, and then they want to check the degree of force required to break open the skin of durian. Okay, so the force required untuk nak break open the skin of the durian takkanlah sama dengan you nak gigit potato chips. So it's different. Alright, so when we talk about light sample, then the force yang kita akan pasang dekat sini, the force that we are going to attach to this particular texture analyzer arm will be lighter compared to when you are having a more ataupun a harder sample. Okay, contoh macam mid slab ni. Mid slab, you require more force in order for you to penetrate that particular sample. Okay, setakat ni boleh faham tak apa saya cakap ni? Bukan takut saya cakap seorang-seorang.
Faham, madam.
Okay, nanti kejap lagi I tunjuk sikit lah. I cut short how the texture analyzer works, and I will explain to you what's happening. Okay, kenapa pentingnya ada texture analyzer ni? Basically, texture analyzer, it mimics how the human react towards the food. Okay, dia an instrument that mimics how the human perceive of that particular food product. Okay, it mimics it given you a special set of numbers ataupun values in order for you to bite that particular product, in order for you to chew that particular product. Okay, so food technologists, they are using precision equipment to measure texture properties of food, which include in terms of the ripeness. Okay, different ripeness. Contohnya mango. Mango mempelam muda, mangga muda dengan mangga yang dah masak. They have different hardness. Okay, and then in terms of the chewiness. When we talk about chewiness is not about chewing gum tau. Chewiness tu bila kita makan, okay, berapa force required to chew that particular product. Okay, and then we have this particular gumminess. Nanti each of this particular chewiness, gumminess, brittleness will be explained in your next slide. Okay, gumminess is how much that particular food product is attaching to the probe as well as into the in the mouth. Okay, there are some of this particular parameter actually it reflects to what's happening in the mouth when the food is being consumed by a human. Okay, and then in terms of the brittleness, okay, brittleness senang pecah ataupun tak, viscoelasticity as well as tenderness. Alright, so these are some of the parameter that are being used to measure the texture for food product. Okay, for texture analyzer machine, how it works, basically the sample, okay, sample is being placed onto the test area. Test area ni yang saya mention pasal platform tadi. Okay, basically sample will be placed on the platform, and then the force is being applied by using either probe, knife ataupun fixture. Okay, different types of product, we have different types of fixture. Contoh, when we talk about cheese, kita ada cheese slab, kita ada cheese slice. Cheese slab tu maksudnya yang apa tu? A block of cheese, contoh a block of cheese compared to dengan cheese slice. So this particular product, although they are from the same commodity, cheese products, tapi the shape, the size, the product itself is different. Okay, the measurement is different. So sometimes you need to add fixture. Okay, nanti fixture tu apa sekejap lagi lah. I tunjuk ada banyak gambar dia dah letak dalam you all punya lecture notes ni. Okay, when the force is being applied, tu contoh macam ni lah. Okay, yang probe ni, it depends sama ada you nak buat compression ataupun you nak check dia punya tensile strength. Tensile strength tu contoh macam you ambil plastik dan you cuba untuk nak tarik plastik tu. Okay, whether it is easy to break ataupun tak. So this one, when you compress or when you having something like shear, so it results in sample deformation. Sample deformation, this one will be recorded by computer. Sample deformation tu maksudnya sample tu dah ada changes in terms of the texture. Okay, so after the computer dia dah record, okay, the value, then nanti computer, the software tu dia akan generate graph, okay, which is a force versus deformation data will be produced, and this will give you information that may be related to the properties such as firmness ataupun hardness, as well as fracturability of the sample. Okay, fracturability tu biasanya yang makanan yang senang pecah lah. Okay, firmness dengan hardness ni sama tak for this particular, in your opinion, for this particular apa tu term, firmness, hardness, is it the same thing or is the different terms?
Different. Different.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Basically, it is the same. It's the same. You can use either firmness or you can use the hardness. It's the same. Okay, tapi of course, some they prefer to use firmness, some they prefer to use hardness. Okay, and it depends on apa tu the nature of the product that being produced in that particular product, in that particular company. But basically, firmness, hardness, they carry the same meaning. Okay, fracturability ni contoh macam potato chips tadi lah. Once the probe start to apa tu break that particular potato chips, then the degree of fracturability will be recorded. Okay, so since biting and chewing compress and shear food, so most texture methods are designed to apply compressive force. Okay, compressive force tu maksudnya we are going to compress that particular product, and after compress, then lepas tu selalunya this particular apa tu probe ni, it will move away from the sample. Okay, alright, this one contohlah, ada video dekat sini. The type of probe and fixture used will determine whether the principal stress in the sample is shear or combination of compression and shear. Shear tu maksudnya kita nak putuskan. Okay, we are going to try to break that particular product. Compression tu meaning that you are compressing the product, you are giving a force whereby that particular sample is going to apa tu, the volume of that particular product, of that particular sample will become half of it ke ataupun 3/4 of the original volume. Okay, so yang ni gambar lah untuk texture analyzer. We have the sample, okay, fixture yang ini, okay, tadi saya cakap, okay, this one is the main platform. Okay, this one is the additional platform. Okay, nampak And this particular fixture is to hold the sample if it is necessary. Okay, contohnya macam kita nak check the fracturability of potato chips, for example, we need to have fixture. We need something to hold that potato chips. Okay, ataupun you nak measure the hardness of chocolate bar contohnya. So you need to have something to hold that particular chocolate bar. So you need to have fixture. Tak boleh terus letak dekat atas platform ni sebab kenapa? Nanti when you subject the compression of the probe to the sample, takutnya, okay, the risk is that this particular probe dia akan pass through the sample dan lepas tu dia akan terus compress kepada platform. Yang itu yang kita tak nak. So that's why we need to have this particular fixture in order to hold the sample. Okay, and this is the probe. Okay, probe, it can be different types of probe. Alright, this one is an example of the probe. The same thing goes for your viscosity, viscometer contoh viscometer, you have different types of spindle kan. Spindle you ada different type of size. Tapi kalau untuk texture analyzer, we have different shapes of probes and fixture. Okay, so when we have different types of probe and fixture, they are meant to do different measurement. Okay, so contohnya we have this cutting ataupun shearing. Okay, cutting, you nak cut, you cut into half. Shearing is whereby you tarik produk tu and tengoklah whether it is elasticity ataupun tak. Okay, in terms of the elasticity ataupun dia senang putus ataupun tak. Okay, and then fracture as well as bending. Okay, this one goes for those product that is having a crisp factor ke ataupun some product tu memang it is able to bend. Alright, and then we have this particular extrusion. Extrusion yang ini contohnya if you penetrate, for example for fruit, Okay, kita nak tahu what is the hardness of that particular fruit. So basically they are going to perform with the extrusion. Maksudnya this particular probe dia akan tekan your fruit sample dan lepas tu dia akan ada macam hole sikit, lubang. Tapi bukanlah sebab dia nak lubang tu, tapi sebab the force required in order to penetrate that particular fruit is one of the extrusion method. Okay, and then we have this particular tension. Okay, tension, this one is something like you want to measure the tensile strength. Okay, and then we have the addition. Okay, addition ni contoh macam if let's say the product is sticky, so what will be the force required to overcome the stickiness? Alright, and then multiple penetration ataupun bulk compression. Okay, so kebiasaannya contoh yang ada dekat dalam kamu punya lab, kita ada this one yang saya highlight warna merah ni. Okay, this one is to measure the hardness of multiple food products. Okay, it can goes from bread products ataupun you are going to have meat products ke, so it can measure the compression. This one, kalau if I'm not mistaken, this one is for butter products ataupun spread. Okay, yang the other two ni I'm not so sure. Okay, sebab tak pernah nampak. And when we talk about this particular probes and fixture, when we purchase texture analyzer, selalunya kita akan specific what will be the analysis that we want to do, what will be the measurement that we want to do. Kita takkan beli semua probe ataupun fixture, okay? Because satu probe very expensive. So when we want to do the texture analysis, we need to make sure that which particular probe and does it require to have fixture. Okay, so this one is a example of the probes and fixtures. So contohnya macam ni untuk analysis for cutting or shearing. Okay, so we have this blade set. Contohnya macam kita nak cut for sausage. Okay, so what will be the force required in order to cut the sausage? So this one is for the blade set. And then we have this Kramer shear cell. Kramer shear cell ni dia nak it will go through with multiple compartment of that particular product. And then we have this light knife blade, knife, again this one semua knife. Okay, when we talk about knife, this one is meant for cutting. Okay, so the same thing goes, this one pun ada wire cutter. Okay, yang ini is for butter basically. Alright, and then this one we have this particular Ottawa cell. We have this shear rig. Okay, shear rig, this one is to measure the force required to break a tablet. Okay, if let's say the tablet is too hard, then probably it is considered as unacceptable. If it is the force required is too low, then maybe there's some problem with the formulation. So of course when you are talking about specification for texture analyzer, selalunya your own company will come out with their own specific standards and specification. Katalah kilang Gardenia dengan kilang Massimo for example because kenapa I selalu bagi example ni, because senang you nak imagine. Okay, Massimo dengan Gardenia, if let's say they want to measure the hardness of their bread for example, they will have their own specific, each of this particular company they will have their own specification and standard. Okay, tak sama. They can refer to journals or papers for the recommendation of specification, but then to set that specification and standard, relatively it goes back to the company. Okay, and then we have this mallet blade. This one is meant for the meat products. And then we have this triple ring cutting system. This one untuk noodle. Okay, and then we have this one for fracture or bending. Okay, contohnya macam we have this particular tahu yang KitKat tu kan? KitKat selalunya kita akan check juga what will be the fracture ataupun the bending. Okay, this one will be using this 3-point bend ring for KitKat ke ataupun for cookies, for biscuits, potato chips. So normally this will be the fixture as well as the probe that is required in order for them to measure the texture. Okay, and then untuk spaghetti fixture rig ni, this one is meant for the dried spaghetti. Okay, yang spaghetti yang kering tu. Okay, berapa force required in order to patahkan, to break that particular spaghetti. Alright, and then we have this particular extrusion. Extrusion, this one we have two types of extrusion. One is back extrusion. Contohnya how it works, this particular probe dia akan masuk dulu. Contoh this particular sample is honey So this particular probe dia akan masuk dulu dekat dalam honey tu. Maksudnya dia belum quantify lagi. But then when we talk about back extrusion rate tu, bila probe tu naik ke atas, maksudnya it move away from the sample, the stickiness ataupun the viscosity of that particular honey will be calculated. Okay, maksudnya when we talk about back extrusion, it moves away from the product. Dia dah masuk dekat dalam produk and then dia naik ke atas. Yang itu baru di measure. Kalau forward extrusion ring ni maksudnya daripada atas ke bawah. Okay, yang itu dia akan measure in terms of the hardness of that particular product. Okay, then we have this particular rise extrusion rate. Okay, extrusion ni nampak dia ada macam area dekat sini whereby it compress ataupun dia naik ke atas. Okay, and then untuk tension contohnya macam you ada apa tu yang produk yang you makan macam jelly lah, bukan marshmallow. Apa yang something like condiments tu.
Nata di koko.
Bukan nata di koko. Yang you require with this apa? Bukan jelly. Tapi budak-budak muda suka makan lah benda ni. Tak apalah, contoh macam gummy bear lah contoh for that gummy bear tu. Okay, bila kita nak measure what will be the force required untuk nak tarik gummy bear tu, this one it requires with the tension. Okay, maksudnya kita nak tarik dia. So it can go two ways. For example yang macam gummy bear tu, we can measure the hardness satu lagi we can measure this some sort like a tensile strength lah for this particular tension. Okay, so yang ini grip ni kita kena ada grip because satu bahagian yang bawah ni nak pegang sampel, yang atas ni untuk nak tarik sampel tu ke atas. Okay, so dekat UiTM kita tak ada benda ni. Kalau if let's say you nak sambung belajar and you nak tengok this kind of machine, you boleh sambung belajar pergi UPM. UPM they have this kind of instrument. Okay, UiTM kita tak ada. Tapi kita boleh buat lah sebenarnya. Boleh je beli yang fixture ataupun probe tu untuk check the tensile strength. Okay. Cuma duit je lah masalah. So yang bahagian bawah ni dia akan pegang sampel, yang atas tu yang akan move out from the sample. Tapi dua-dua tu kena pegang sampel lah sebab kita nak tahu the tensile strength. Sama juga kalau macam katakanlah you tak minat bidang food, you nak masuk into packaging. Contoh and you nak deal with polymer macam plastik contoh. So plastik pun you still need to measure the tensile strength. Okay, sebab different tak tahu you all ada belajar pasal food packaging ataupun tak, because different types of plastic they will have different tensile strength. Okay, contohnya macam polypropylene. Polypropylene is harder compared to polyethylene. This one is the plastic material, tapi yang tu nantilah bila you all belajar pasal packaging. Okay, and then ini untuk tortilla ataupun pastry burst rate. Okay, nak tahu what will be the force required in order to for this particular tortilla untuk apa? Bend over ke. Alright, and then this one is untuk pizza. Pizza ni kan you all nampak ada yang iklan apa? Tarik cheese lah whatever. So it is being measured objectively by using texture analyzer as well. Alright, and then for adhesion is this one basically it is a meant for something that is sticky. Okay, contohnya macam dough. Okay, bread dough. Bread dough ni contohnya kita letak dough dekat dalam ni. Okay, dan lepas tu kita put the force. What will be the force required ataupun the hardness, the force required in order to cut ataupun to compress that particular product. So this one is addition. And basically when we talk about addition, this particular product selalunya dia akan sort of like melekat dekat probe surface of the probe tu. So those force will be calculated. Okay, and then we have this multiple penetration ataupun bulk compression. Ada different types of fixture as well as probe. We have this Ottawa cell. Kebiasaannya this particular product, it is not only meant for finished food product sahaja tau. It can goes for the vegetables, for the meat products as well as for the fruit. Okay, jangan kamu ingat untuk texture analyzer ni hanya untuk produk finished product yang processed finished product. Okay, it can goes for the raw material as well. Alright, and then we have this mini creamer ataupun Ottawa cell, and then kita ada puncher probe, okay, powder compaction ring and a lot of things, okay, multiple chip rig and etc. Okay, untuk braid V squeeze rig ni I tak pernah jumpa. This one first time I tengok. Ini dia akan mimik macam mana kalau orang dia nak beli loaf braid kan. Dia picit dekat luar tu, dia tekan, nak tahu the softness of that particular product. So it can mimic that one. And then we have this spreadability rig. Contohnya macam you ada Nutella you ke, you ada apa macam peanut butter ke. So what will be the force required in order to spread that particular product? And then ice cream cone support. Ini nak tahu what will be the force required to break that particular cone. Okay, the specialty is about the holder sebenarnya. Yang probe ni kita ada. Kalau kamu nak buat dekat lab pun boleh, tapi kita tak ada holder untuk ice cream cone lah. Okay, and then we have this ice cream scoop. This one very interesting. This one for first time I tengok. You have the slab, okay, a block of ice cream. So what will be the force required to scoop the ice cream? So contoh if let's say kamu pernah try Baskin Robbins ataupun Haagen-Dazs and then you try to buy Magnolia punya brand. So the scooping, the force required to scoop the ice cream is very much different. Okay, because it goes back to the formulation, the ingredients and etc. The processing of that particular product. Okay, so kita ada yang cheese grating dan confectionery holder. Okay, pukul 11 dah. Penat lah pula saya cakap. Can we take 5 dulu? I nak pergi minum air sekejap. Before that, do you have any problem? Any problem pula. Do you have any question tak?
No, madam.
Okay, kita take 5 sekejap So around 11:05 lah kita sambung balik. Okay, thank you.